So next up, we have one of our many joke categories that you made up for some reason.
Is this me?
Yeah, this was you. I didn't put this on the list.
I thought this was you.
Nope.
Okay.
Best headpiece.
Yep.
Which is a thing you wear on your head in video games.
That's about how...
This year.
Yep.
That's
about the only definition of this category we have.
We have everyone in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yep.
We have Sam from Vanquish. I'm assuming you mean the armor helmet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Weird Woman in Resistance Base from Nier Automata, who's just never mind.
Yep.
The Vestments from Pyre, the Masks from Absolver, Cuphead from Cuphead, but mainly Mugman, but also Cuphead.
Right.
The Psyscope from Prey, the Tank from Wolfenstein 2, and the Thunder Helm from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
So everyone in Horizon Zero Dawn, they all do have very good headdresses.
Really good headpieces.
They do.
Of various descriptions. And
yeah, there's like various, like there's huge antler ones and there's like tiny like ring ones. They're all very nice, I'll give you that. Sam from Vanquish, I don't think we can give it to him because that game came out in 2009, but...
we talked about it, and yes. But, you know.
But it is a very good, it assembles around his head.
Yep.
It's very nice. The Weird Woman in the Resistance Space because she's just wearing a robot head.
She just took one of the hit robot's heads and was like, you know what, I could fucking wear this. I bet the thing stinks inside.
Yeah, I bet it's very bad.
And she's the one that talks about like.
I think she sells you achievements later on.
She does, but she's also the one where you go up to her and say, "Do you have any questions?" Like that's like one of the many.
Oh, is she the one that makes excuses for the map?
Yeah.
Oh,
where
yeah.
she says,
Fuck
like,
her. She's terrible.
Where she says like. When you ask her questions like, this map seems really bad, and you're like, I know.
Sorry, like.
Sorry. Just deal with it.
The Vestments Empire are legitimately very good.
Yep.
They're very cool. Both mask designs and like the robes are very nice.
Yep. But we can't talk about the robes because it's purely headpiece.
Headpiece, sorry. The masks are very good, and they are very depending on the like style of person that's wearing them.
So this is a much more ethical quandary, I think, than the next one. Like, is Cuphead a headpiece?
No, the masks in Absolver.
No, I know, but I'm talking about Cuphead.
Yeah, but the masks in Absolver is next on the list.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about.
They're very good masks. That's all I'll say about the things. They're very varied and different and well designed.
Okay.
Is Cuphead a headpiece? I mean, it's a cup on his head.
But is that not his head? Like, is it like?
I guess, yeah.
Like, is it a headpiece or is it?
But it's a very good thing. It's not a headpiece, but it's a thing on his head.
The game is.
Cuphead's got a real good head. All right.
The category,
Mugman also has a very good head.
The category is not best skull. Like
best head.
Best head. Like that is not a category.
Fair enough. Psyscope from Prey.
It's pretty cool.
It's a cool thing that you wear in your head.
Yep. What the tank from Wolfenstein 2?
You know the bit when BJ gets his head cut off and then you put the head in the tank?
Is that a headpiece?
I mean, it's on his head.
It's around his head.
You could wear things around your head.
Does it count as a headpiece though?
Probably not, but I thought it was a funny joke.
Yeah, totally.
I don't even know what the Thunder Helm is. I've not seen it.
You get it from when you go to the desert town where the
Gorons.
The Gorons and
I'm about to do that.
Not because the Gorons are the ones in the desert. Who are the ones in the lava mountain?
Oh, I don't know.
They're the Gorons, are they not?
I don't know. Are they? Okay. I don't know who's in the desert.
So who's the desert ones? Gerudo.
Gerudo was okay.
The queen of the Gerudo wants you to get her Thunder Helm back, and it's this like she's like a child. She's like a child queen. And the Thunder Helm is this huge, big fucking like solid gold helmet with bits coming off it, and she has to wear it because it protects against the thunder from the beast. So she's riding across the desert with this massive helmet on behind the seal. Like it's
so.
Okay, let's eliminate the ones that are not headpieces.
So Cuphead's gone.
Cuphead's not a headpiece.
The tank's gone.
The tank is not a headpiece. The tank is a vessel for
a vessel for a head.
A head vessel.
Sam gets eliminated because he came out in 2009.
Sam is not a game from 2017. You're
no.
Right.
These are all headpieces that have been worn in 2017.
Yes. Is everyone too general?
Yes.
Okay, let's remove everyone.
There's a lot of people in Horizon Zero. Granted, they all have very good headpieces.
Is there one that stands out? I'm trying to think of one in particular that stands out.
I can't think of one.
Exactly. Like I think
they're all very the same, but
yeah.
Okay.
The Weird Woman in the Resistance Space.
It's a robot head.
It's a robot head. I think it's funny that she has it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best headpiece.
No, because you see it a lot in the game anyway.
You see a lot of them in the game. I think the vestments are.
I think the vestments are great.
Potential.
I like them.
I like the design of the Psyscope because it makes no sense.
Why?
Because it's like.
Oh, because you're just like.
The lens is directly.
Yeah, it's like that.
A single lens and it's directly here.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem.
It's like the telescope from Star Wars. It has that, except that was a screen.
But that also had like 2 bits here.
Yeah,
if
that's
you look
true.
through. Like this is a single lens that is here.
I just really like the image of Morgan going around that station terrified of mimics and constantly like moving this up and down his head because he's like, wait, is that a mimic?
Just looking at chairs and flicking it down.
Yeah.
Like that's
battering them about with a wrench.
Yeah.
I just like the image,
Yep.
but yes, I agree.
The Thunder Helm is pretty.
I will accept that the Thunder Helm is probably a bit mental. Hang on, we've got a note coming in.
Sorry, note for coming in. Late entry. Oh, the rubber helm from Zelda. That's a fair argument. The rubber helm, so that's part of the rubber armor suit.
There's a rubber armor suit. Is that lightning resistant?
Yes.
Ah, that's
and
pretty
the
good.
rubber helm is.
I'll look up an image of this.
It's basically a fish.
Oh, hang on, I need to see this.
Look up the rubber helm from Zelda. The rubber armor helmet.
Rubber helmet. Let's have a look here. If the page will load. Because I need to see this rubber fish that you apparently...
It's pretty good. There's physics on it.
There's physics on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to just quickly add this to the list.
A helmet made from ancient techniques and electricity-resistant material made from something called rubber, a material that can no longer be found.
Yep.
Well, the internet is broken for me, so I can't look at this helmet.
Let me see if we can find it. A rubber helmet.
Oh wait, hang on. I might be on at something.
Breath of the Wild. Images. There you go. There you go. There we go. Got a picture here. This is.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Right.
That's a hell of a headpiece,
isn't it?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. That
fair
works.
enough.
That works. Thank
Good
you very
job,
much.
Corner.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
I think the rubber helm has a chance.
Yeah, that thing looks pretty ridiculous. I'll give you that.
I'll just very quickly while we're looking up stuff.
It's a very dynamic category. This is.
Yeah. The Thunder Helm.
Oh, you showing me an image of the Thunder Helm?
Image of the Thunder Helm. Thunder Helm. Hopefully there's a picture of her wearing it.
Can I say that if the masks from Absolver don't make the top 3, I'm going to kill someone?
So that's the Thunder Helm.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look at that thing.
And she's like 12 and it doesn't quite
Yeah,
fit
alright.
her.
Sure. That's fine.
Okay, so let's get serious for a second here.
I'll murder you if the masks from Absolver don't make this.
The masks from Absolver are definitely part of this. I think the rubber helm is definitely part of this.
I agree.
And I think it's the... For such a dumb category, I kind of want dumb answers, and I think the scope is really dumb.
The scope is very dumb, yeah.
I'm kind of liking that over the vestments.
Sure, I'm okay with that.
Designed.
Yep.
So
is the rubber helm the best headpiece of 2017?
Probably.
Yeah, okay. I'm fine with that.
Rubber helm wins. Late entry. I love how the first thing
Final day entry.
I love how the first thing we eliminated was the reason why the category was created was the headpieces in Horizon are great.
They're great headpieces, but then also there's this fish that you can wear in Breath of the Wild.
And the tail has little physics on it as you run around.
Does it wobble?
It wobbles as
Amazing.
you run around. And
so the winner is the rubber helm from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, with runners-up being all the masks from Absolver, because they're all fantastic, and the scope from Prey.
Yep. Scope from Prey is a really silly looking helmet.
Let's go back to being actually serious.
Yes. Yes. Let's talk about the best soundtrack of 2017.
Okay. We've already talked about individual tracks, but
so this is
as a whole,
and also use of music is important in here.
Yes.
So we have Prey, Sexy Brutal, Yakuza 0, Nier Automata, Robo Recall, Pyre, Persona 5, The Mummy Demastered, Sonic Mania, Destiny 2, SteamWorld Dig 2, Wolfenstein 2, Cuphead, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, and Sega Slots. You bastard, you added that one in at the end there.
The Mexican hat dance, right? It uses it really well. That's entirely on use.
Can't argue.
You also can't argue that point.
Can't argue your logic.
So, do you want to go through this, or do you want to...
Well, how about we just pick out the ones that I know are going to be here?
Okay.
Just to start with.
Yep.
I think Yakuza 0 should be on this list.
Oh, God.
I also think Persona 5...
I think you can move it up and we'll have a discussion.
I think Persona 5 should be on this list. I'm going to let me just add the line in so I can do this. I think that
Prey should be talked about.
I think Prey should probably be talked about.
I think that Pyre should probably be talked about.
I probably think Cuphead should be talked about.
I think that Nier should probably be talked about. No, not as a game, as a soundtrack, you moron.
Okay.
I think Sonic Mania should be talked about.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I think that soundtrack's incredible, but it's purely from the perspective of, fuck me, look at how good the Sonic soundtrack is.
Let's look at the things below the line. The Sexy Brutale is there mainly because that main theme is real good, and I think
the menu theme, you mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and I think as you move around the house, the different music that comes in at different points is actually really good.
Yes.
That's probably not in the top.
Robo Recall is good because
That
it's high amp.
Fucking loading music.
It's really good, yeah.
And the end of mission music is great.
Yeah.
Another one that
it's really good warm up and cool down.
I looped that song a lot. It's really good. It works very well in that kind of like arcade 80s feel they're going for in that
that's
thing.
True. Mummy Demastered is a great soundtrack that works at.
So actually, I went through. I could look through it. I like 3 songs.
Oh really? Okay. I think there's more than that.
Okay.
But yeah. Sonic Mania is amazing, but you have to kind of really like Sonic music to get it. But it is amazing for what it is.
Destiny 2 is that there for a particular reason?
No, I didn't put it on there.
But did you not?
No.
You totally added this.
Did I?
Yeah, this is you.
Why? All right, I don't know. It's fine. Like it's not anything special, but.
SteamWorld Dig 2, is there more than just
the different zones all have like individual music that is all
and it feels alright?
It feels good for the area, and there's like different songs that play in like trials and stuff.
Is it above the line?
No.
Okay.
Wolfenstein 2.
That's because Mick Gordon did it.
Yeah,
right?
but it's a really good Mick Gordon soundtrack where it comes in at the right moments and dips out at the right moments.
But it's not Doom.
No, it's not Doom.
And I think actually it works. Like Doom, the music for Doom works with Doom. Like that felt like
there were moments in that soundtrack in Wolfenstein that sounded a bit too Doom.
Like why the hell is this here?
The quieter music, the music like on the U-boat and when you're like talking about what you're going to do, and the music in Mesquite and stuff work really well.
Yes,
because they're very Americana. It's all like slide guitars and
there
stuff.
There are moments in there, but the combat music and stuff and that I just don't.
I agree.
Really
That's
fit
fine.
it.
Breath of the Wild, I like, but it's very minimal. It's incredibly minimal.
The reason why I put it on here was mainly to talk about, like, it reminded me a lot of the way you talked about, what's that game from Tokyo RPG Factory?
Setsuna, I am Setsuna.
Yes, it reminded me a lot of that, where a lot of the music in there is, like, solo piano.
Yes, you're right.
And, like, very minimal.
Incredibly minimal.
For a Zelda game, specifically, like... And especially,
there are moments that are literally, it's like a few notes, like it's not anything huge.
There are ones, like when the Red Moon happens,
like
that build up is actually really good in terms of music.
I agree, it's good. I just think
I couldn't name a
track.
I
couldn't think about it.
Super Mario Odyssey is fine. It's a decent.
I think the Wooded Kingdom and that Jump Up Superstar song is good.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I think
the rest obviously, and Sega Slots was just a joke because they used that Mexican hat dance.
Song. Yeah,
I do think they use it really well.
I
think it's really funny. But
if this is better use of music,
may actually have a chat. But it's overall.
So let's talk about the ones that.
So Yakuza, Persona, Prey, Pi, or Cuphead in the year.
Man, Yakuza is just such a good soundtrack.
But is it though?
Yes, it's got so much stuff on it. It goes all over the place. It fits. Is the polar opposite to Wolfenstein, where Wolfenstein feels like the music has been rammed on top of it without reason, and it doesn't match.
Sure.
Some of the music in Yakuza doesn't also match, but it works in that nonsense world they've created.
Sure.
Like, there are elements of, like, very much where they're pulling from the 80s, but also, like I said, there's a dubstep track on there that works.
Yeah.
There's, like, some real, like glam metal stuff in there. There's a lot of the kind of more serious, like, dramatic tracks are actually really good in there. There's a legitimate case in there, I think.
Okay, that's fine.
Persona's glorious.
Persona 5 is nothing but incredible.
Yeah.
That soundtrack is over 100 tracks long. It's 4 discs on its own of just incredible music that varies in style and it does vary in style, but it like fits the environments that you find yourself in. It fits the tone. It fits. Yeah, it's just there's so much of it, and all of it's just so good.
Yeah,
and
I have zero arguments there.
Yeah, like, and it does the main battle theme. Yes, is there, but that sting's always very good. Like the lead up to the chorus is always very good. All the boss themes are amazing and very appropriate. Like, it could talk forever about how good Persona is, but Prey. I think I really, really like Prey. It's legitimately unnerving. It's very good at what it's trying to do, where it's supposed to make Talos 1 feel like it's like it's always around you. There's always something there.
Totally.
Where even in Alex's theme, which we played a bit of, the moments of humanity are like drowned out by these really creepy electronic noises and moments of just like air and noise, and there's a lot of space in a lot of those songs, but it's not, the space isn't taken up by music. It's space made there to make you feel uncomfortable.
Totally.
Like there should be something there, but there isn't.
They do a lot of like I don't know what it was, but the kind of Pavlovian response I have to the one that
the Phantoms.
The Phantoms.
Yeah, that sting at the very start.
Like,
yeah,
oh, shit.
You instantly go, oh crap, there's something here. It's
Pyre, I'm not sure plays in this group.
It's a really good Supergiant soundtrack.
I think it's the weakest of the three.
Really?
Honestly, like
okay.
Transistor was incredible, and I think Bastion worked.
Much prefer Transistor than I did.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is very personal, but I think it's
I
really
really like Pyre because the story that they're telling is very what's the word? It's very folky. It's very like it's a group of travelers like just trying to get out of a bad situation, and they match that very well. But then they also just have like very individual themes, like the theme for the group of what are they called, the dog people that I can't remember the name of.
Oh, like the punk dogs.
Yeah, the punk dogs have that amazing theme that's just all like overdriven guitars. The Knights have that really like
the
chivalry
sea
theme that's
one,
the sea shanty thing. I think it works very well.
It does. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I can see that. Cuphead peaked on the jazz chart in the US.
It did. It was number 9 or 8 on the Billboard jazz charts, and it is also perfect at what it's trying to do. It fits that.
Does it
style.
become samey after a while?
I mean, it's all jazz music.
But
I really like jazz music, but it's all jazz music.
But like, does it become like is there enough variation between the tracks?
Yeah, I never got bored of it.
Okay.
So but potentially someone could get bored of it. Yeah. I haven't, but potentially someone could. I think the Nier Automata soundtrack is it's a work of art. Like, it's great. It is amazing what it's trying to do. The way that the soundtrack starts off as very not quiet but very small songs like Pascal.
Yeah.
Where it's all very naive and infant, and there's not a lot of instrumentation there.
Yeah.
That then builds into like bigger and bigger songs. It's kind of this progression of the robot consciousness.
It feels like Nier Automata, the soundtrack for that thing was built like very intent. Like every part of it was very, very intentional.
Yes, incredibly intentional. Yeah,
and it didn't seem like. At no point did it feel like they weren't like, here's the scene, go write this track. Like it felt like the musician was sitting there with the level designers, like going like, no, here's what's going to happen, and it's important
if you build it here, and
also there's like. From a pure technical perspective, like every track in that game has an 8-bit version because of the hacking.
Yep, they cut in really well.
There
from
are
each other.
the 3 intensities to most of the main tracks.
Yeah,
I think some of the kind of larger, like kind of more general like boss fight tracks are not great, but the stuff that's there is technically
it's very impressive.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So for our 3.
Okay.
I don't want to say that I'll stab you if Persona's not on this.
You'll probably stab me if Persona's not on this.
I'll probably stab you if Persona's not on this.
I agree with you. Like
that's fine.
Persona's probably one of the 3.
Do you really feel strongly about Yakuza 0?
I kind of do. Like
surprisingly so.
Yeah.
Or,
like I like that whole soundtrack. There's no way to get that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I've looked.
Yeah.
There's a like 84 item YouTube playlist that has made it into like the 3rd suggested thing when I log onto YouTube now is like, oh, by the way, do you want to continue listening to...
Do you want to keep listening to the Yakuza soundtrack?
There's a lot in there, and I think most of it is excellent, and I think it's just
I get it's varied enough to like play in the spectrums of that game.
Yeah, I think so. Because like I'm looking
over the rest of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of this other stuff. Like I appreciate like Nier Automata feels like my music knowledge is not good enough to make that kind of reference. But like it feels like a math rock band where like we're playing this in 17/9 because like
we're
because
trying
we
to
understand
accomplish a
it,
thing.
they're
Yeah.
like, we really understand music,
Yeah.
and we're going to do it in this particular way.
Sure.
Like it's an
The way that
impressive technical achievement.
Yeah.
And a lot of the songs are so like the moment
They're incredibly specific. Like they're laser focused.
The moment I discovered that the lyrics are not in an actual language.
Yeah. They're in some weird French.
It's like
thing.
a weird French. Like apparently, like I was reading something. I've read a couple of interviews with Yoko Taro to try and figure out
He's
how
crazy,
the
isn't
fuck
he?
that man built that thing. But like, apparently he thought when they were talking about the music, he went to someone and went, "What would happen if we merged Japanese and French? Like if we're in a future world where like languages don't exist anymore because all the humans are gone, and we blended together a bunch of languages. Like, can you sing in a language that sounds like Japanese and French?
Yes.
Which is why to us it sounds French, and to Japanese it sounds kind of Japanese. But not quite. I think it's a technical achievement.
Yes.
And I think there are like 3 tracks on there that I'm super into.
I think they work better in context.
Yeah.
Which is powerful. Like it works really, really well in context.
I'm gonna move it down below for now. I'm gonna leave it at the top of that.
Do you want to move Pyre down?
I
really like Pyre, but I wouldn't have it in the top 3.
You wouldn't have it in the top 3. No. Okay, I don't feel that. Like I said, I think it's a great soundtrack.
I
think it's the weakest of the 3.
I think the 4 that we have there, which is Persona 5, Yakuza 0, Prey, and Cuphead, my list would be those top 2, and then the third position I would have to have a serious fight about because I don't know which one I would want more. It would probably end up being Prey because I think Prey does more with its soundtrack. Like it accomplishes a lot more. It does a lot for tone and a lot of.
I was surprised when I found that soundtrack on Spotify and there are only like 10 tracks.
Yeah, I know. It repeats a lot, but it still works.
And it also seems like they repeat sections of tracks.
Yeah.
Like it seems like depending on where you are, like they'll take chunks of tracks and loop them.
But I think it, whereas Cuphead is on its own is undeniably, because it was in the charts, an incredibly good jazz album.
Yeah. And
it fits the tone of what it's trying to do. That's kind of all it is. It's just a good jazz album that works.
If I get Yakuza in there, I'll let you rearrange this list.
What, like as in I get to pick
the order? If I
get
Yakuza 0 in there, you pick the order.
Oh fuck yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm fine with that.
Right. So what are the 3?
Persona, Yakuza, and Prey.
Okay. And what's the order?
Persona wins.
Yes.
That's
for sure. Okay.
Like there isn't a better soundtrack this year than Persona. Like it's incredible.
Not at all.
It's huge and it's different and every song accomplishes something, but they're all songs that I would happily just listen to, like because they're just so well done.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think like the creative choice to add lyrics totally changes that soundtrack for me. Like you do not get JRPG soundtracks with lyrics.
Yeah.
Or you do, but they're like
you get Persona. The Persona is the one that does it all the time.
But like the only time you get that in those kind of games is when it's like it's a key moment.
Yeah, it's like Sutika Dene, when it's like the end of 10 or whatever, like big moments. But in this, it's just got lyrics throughout the thing.
And it works, and it's one of those things that like nobody tries because like
the thing that I really like about Persona lyrics as well is that the singer gets the English right, but just right to where they can make weird rhymes out of it.
Yep.
And it just makes this whole field of language.
All of those lyrics that are English learned phonetically.
Yeah.
Like they don't particularly understand those words strung together.
Yeah.
But it sounds good.
But they get the sound of it, and
like
it means
it might as well be the fucking like the near thing of like it might as well be a fake language. It just sounds right.
I really like that,
Yeah.
and always have. Like every Persona soundtrack has those kind of like weird singers that have the broken English.
Yep, totally.
But it works.
But yeah. So the best soundtrack 2017 is Persona 5, the Yakuza 0, and Prey. Following up.
Yep.
Solid.
I'm really happy with that.
Yep.
So next we have best narrative. Could say best story, best storytelling, whatever you want.
Again, this is a kind of conglomeration of a bunch of things like best writing.
Yes.
Best story. It kind of the best way to describe both of those things is kind of best narrative.
Yeah.
Combination of the two of them.
So what we have, What Remains of Edith Finch, Yakuza 0, Prey, Tacoma.
Don't laugh.
I'm not.
Stop.
I know that the Yakuza series has a big sprawling story. I understand that.
I don't care about the rest of the series. I'm talking about 0.
I'm just surprised how often Yakuza 0 is coming up.
I'm not.
Prey, Tacoma, Hellblade, Wolfenstein 2, Night in the Woods, Persona 5, Million Onion Hotel,
Bastard.
Life is Strange Beyond the Storm, and Sega Slots. No, I'm joking.
No.
Okay. So
the story of that win, like the story of those pinatas is
it's amazing. See that one time you hit spin and then got 1.5 million coins. Amazing.
Epic win.
Triumph of no. So what remains of the Finch, the story basically is that game.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's an interesting idea where because it deals with a lot of things. It deals with a lot of different aspects, and the way it tells it, I think, is also super important. Where the fact that they've just taken it as a series of stories, one after the other, that tell the story of this family from each of the family members' perspectives.
Yes.
Normally it's directly from their perspective, or it's always from their perspective, but not necessarily from their voice.
No, it's told. Yeah, like I think it's the story of like either your sister or someone else in the family that's told as like a comic book.
Yes.
It's told from like a narrator perspective.
Totally. And there's always like a level of, because it's being told from a particular point of view, there's always an intonation of like actually something else is going on. So like the comic book one, for instance, is painted as a
home invasion
it's
thing.
like a slasher movie.
Yeah.
When actually like something probably fucking dark happened there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That was not good. And then there's even the simple ones are really good, like the young boy in the swing. Like that's not writing, that's like setting a scene and letting it go.
Yeah.
And like the fact that the stuff over there is like, oh, they never found a body, like they don't quite know what happened, and you're seeing
what's happening,
and you're seeing it build, and you're like, I know how this is going to end, and you're going to draw this out as long as possible.
To like the one of the baby that drowns in the bath.
Yes.
To where you're seeing what they think is baby thinks is happening, where it's him like swimming with all of his toys and stuff, and then you just get a death note from the corner.
And again, it's like you see the perspective shows you their perspective of what's happening, and there's always this intonation underneath.
It's a very specific thing that only games can really do, which is like showing from that perspective exactly what that person is thinking with
context.
Yeah,
it's really good.
So Yakuza 0.
Yakuza 0 is a
on you go.
Surprise. Like Yakuza 0 does a lot of narrative. Like if you want to talk about most narrative,
it's part of it. There is a lot of narrative in Yakuza.
There's a point, so
I guarantee you I'll play this game this year. I guarantee you. I've started it, I've not finished it.
So there's a couple of levels to this, right? Where there's the main plot, which is...
Is that the thing about the lot?
The empty lot.
Yeah.
The main line of that thing is a pretty great kind of crime drama.
Yakuza story.
Yakuza story, kind of. But it's done... It's a crime drama, right? And it's all about, like family politics, like Yakuza family politics,
clan politics,
clan politics, and there's a surprising amount of politics in there. Like you go to a surprising amount of like high level meetings as part of that story with a lot of very stone faced people, like all fucking each other over in really subtle ways. Like Kiryu's story is like really interesting, and it sets up
who he is
and his relationship with Nishiki, which pays off in Kiwami, or in the first game, as it turns out.
Yeah, it pays off in all of it.
But like specifically,
see how he became the
makes
dragon.
One specifically more impactful.
Right. Okay. That's what Kiwami is, right? It's a remake
of one.
Yeah.
There's the and then like actually on top of all of it, like Majima's personal story.
Is that not the story of how he became that mental?
He became Mad Dog.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd played more of the games before Zero, because that would have been even more impactful. Because like that moment in the second act where you first get introduced to Majima, and he comes out in the hostess club, the cabaret club.
Yeah.
Like full suit, with the ponytail and the eye patch, and like looking really dapper, and being like being very kind of like personable to the clients and all this kind of stuff. Like that is not that character in every other of those games. So if you'd seen all that stuff before, you'd be like, what is this?
Yeah,
what is even happening? Yeah. And seeing him just get fucked over and over is so depressing in that thing. So there's all that stuff. And then there's all the side stuff as well, which 90% of it is just insane. Yeah. Like all the little stories that happen.
This is like the side stories you can get where it's like the guy who just really wants to go to the place where he can just go jack it and stuff like that, like the old dude.
Mr. Libido?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, but there's a dude that runs around in both of the cities you play in. There's two Mr. Libidos.
Oh god.
There's the one in the underwear, like just the underwear, where in Tokyo, and then in Osaka there's another dude who just like secretly just really likes porn, and like. And the first moment you see the Mr. Libido in Tokyo, like this dude runs around in his briefs, like that's it, and like you're doing opposition research as Majima, and you go to a hostess club, like your competition hostess club, and say like, how are these guys making money? Like I don't get it. So you go in as a customer, and there's a first person team. You're looking around and going, oh, like what's this hostess club like? And there's like, oh, those guys are older, but they've obviously got money, but they're not there with the best girls, so that's part of it. And then you look over there, it's like, well, these guys are much younger, but they're obviously not got the money, so they're placating them. Right. But actually, they're throwing their good girls at there, which is like you're kind of working out. You're running
the dynamics of a hostess club.
You're working all this stuff out, and then you just look over at the fire exit, and Mr. Libido's just there, just fucking gyrating, and he looks at him and goes, "That's weird," and just looks on. You're like, "Well, no, wait, go back to like." There's so much. There's so many things. So many little stories that happen in that thing, and all of it is really good. Yeah. And like the crime drama bit of it is actually like is much better than I expected it to be. It doesn't belabor the a lot of problems with like stories that come exclusively out of Japan. Yeah. Is they go too anime with it sometimes. Yeah. They like. Every character over-explains everything. Yeah. Or, like, everyone is like...
Persona does that a lot.
Yeah. Like Persona's an ideal example of that. Like, no, I get what you're saying. Like, you don't have to say it
yeah.
Like, Yakuza doesn't do that. Yakuza's like, here's what's going on, and, like, here's the repercussions of this, but we need to fucking go now, and everything just moves. And I really appreciated that about it. Like, it doesn't go full anime, which is good.
It kind of does. There are some full anime characters in that game,
but it's like it's not shonen.
No,
what I mean.
It's
like,
not.
It's like grown up anime. It's like it's not
anime for adults.
It's closer to like a TV drama rather than anime.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah.
Prey.
Is Prey here because of the side stuff? Because I like the main story is
The main story's
really
fine,
but there isn't really a main story. Like,
well, you're right. Yeah, there's not a main story, and well, there's the sense of like you wake up on Talos 1, you have to go find your brother, and then the people from I can't remember the name of the company now, TranStar, turn up to try and eradicate the place, and then the big typhoon appears and starts taking over the station, and you have to get out.
But that's like not a lot of the game.
No, it's not. But the side stuff and the stuff surrounding that, I think, is very good. The human stories and that,
for sure.
Like the story in the crew quarters of the people playing a D&D game, and the two women who meet each other and fall in love and all that is very, very good. But what I really liked is the science story of it, where that led into the twist at the end, where it's all the talk of like how people want to improve themselves, but then if they get it out, they lose their memories, and then you have to deal with all that. And the scientists are talking about how that works, and it's like people implanting Typhon into themselves. Yeah. That then leads into Typhon takes over Earth. Yeah. That then leads into the big twist at the end, where you're not actually the simulation at the very start. Yeah. Is only the first level, where there's actually a second simulation where you are a sentient Typhon. Yes. That has been implanted with human memories. So it's this twist of, instead of humans using the Typhon to be better, there are now people trying to make the Typhon better with humanity. Yeah. Which I thought was a really cool twist on the... We
can solve this problem by injecting humanity.
Yeah, instead of it being the other way around, which I really, really liked. But you're right, the main arc is basically not there. Yeah. It's just like
but all the side stuff is...
Oh god, this is bad, get out. But all the side stuff is really, really good. Again, Tacoma, the story kind of is that game.
Totally, and it's an interesting one as well, because it's not just it's not just like again. There's the overall arc.
The general sci-fi story of big corporations are bad.
But like it does a really cool thing, like the twist in that thing where it's like, no, actually the company decided to sacrifice all of their employees because it benefits their company in this really weird way, and the writing of the AI as well, to be like, the AI knows it's an AI, and the AI knows that it can't break some rules.
Yeah, so it subtly
so
pushes
it subtly
people.
goes like,
yeah.
I mean, I obviously can't tell you about this thing
Yeah.
that you should probably go look at, and like all of that kind of stuff was really good. And I think the kind of double level twist of like, no, they destroyed this station intentionally, and I suppose it kind of let it down then at the end, where you're like, actually, I don't care about this. I'm here for the AI.
Yeah,
is weird, but I did like a lot of the relationships that happen between the characters in there.
Yeah, the actual, again, the human stories of like what the people that get to the point where it's the doctor lady who ends up, a lot of the characters end up telling her their problems,
yes,
and she just has an anxiety attack and breaks down. Like, and
again, this is where the mechanics kind of play into it as well, where you're like, you uncover that story in different orders. Like one of the great ones is the bit where they get together in the botanic gardens to talk about the plan about
they come up with the fire in the
and then so there's a bit where you go, when you go in, there's nobody there, but you see the meeting, so you go up to the meeting, listen to the meeting, and then you rewind out and you see everyone just spread out, and you're like, okay, you need to go and learn all the individual. So you talk to the engineer and two engineers who are in a relationship, and how they're talking to each other about like, this might not fucking work at all, and that's happening over here. There's the doctor and the botanics guy underneath. He's done. He's out. Like, I'm this is not happening. I'm going to call them and call it. And she's trying to calm him down. The director and the head scientist are off going like, this might work, but and then that's the point where you reveal that they're together. Yeah. All of this stuff is happening, and the fact that you're naturally finding a lot of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good little stories that are going on. Yeah.
I think it's potential. We'll see.
Hellblade.
Hellblade's like, you want to talk about personal stories.
Yeah, that's the most personal story.
Stories, and
Senua has had such a horrific experience in her entire life that has driven her to this psychotic.
And she pushes her way out of it.
Yeah,
like she's the one that fights constantly. Yeah, to
like
get
after
this.
Having like her love flayed and like brought up in her town, her dad, who's a horrible person who burned her mother alive and has to deal with that, has led her to this psychotic incident where she's like hearing voices and seeing things, and all she does is have to push forward to try and like get the person that she loves back, and at the very end having to realize that she even having been told throughout the entire game that you can't do this, like you can't get Dillian back, there's no way. And it's really good moments because all the people that are telling her she can't get Dillian back are the voices in her head,
which she's grown to ignore.
Which she ignores anyway, and gets to the end and realizes you actually just can't and has to let go. Is a really good character arc. It's like an amazing. I don't think it says the best message about mental health, where in the sense of like, all you need to do is just say that you'll accept it and it's fine. Yeah, that's not
or just keep fighting. And
that's like, not quite how mental health works.
Yeah,
but I think the character arc is very good.
The broad strokes of that, I feel like they did. And again, it's one like many things that try and do this. You can see the ways they could have fucked it up. Yeah, like bad. Like, so the fact that they got the broad strokes right. Yeah, and the fact that they it feels. Like I've taken to playing most PC stuff in here with that TV. Yeah. And just because it's a better sound system, bigger TV, and all this kind of stuff. But that was a game I had to isolate myself.
Oh, I specifically said to you play it with headphones.
With headphones, because it's the only way you can get every part of that story. In a way that makes sense. Yeah. And also, like, you layer on top of that the performance of Senua. Who was just
I was going to say the motion capture and the performance of that also just helped. She looks horrified a lot.
Even
of the
some
time.
of the performance of the FMV stuff, which has a tendency to look cheap. Anyway, like it works. Most of the time, and also the voice work of Senua and the voices in her heads. Yeah, because there are like, as you go through that game, there are like 3 or 4 separate distinct entities. One of which is like the permanent one with like. They're almost like the emotions have their own voices. Yeah. Like that's the one.
They're different personalities.
That's the anxiety. That's the one that tells you can't do anything. Yeah. That's the one that's like none of this is ever going to work. Like all of this stuff is fighting in its head and in your head, and it works.
It works really very, very well. Wolfenstein.
Holy shit!
Hell, that narrative goes some places.
I'm trying to. The thing about Wolfenstein is I'm trying to see if I can disentangle narrative from a series of holy shit moments. Like,
I mean, the actual narrative in that game is there's a resistance movement against the Nazis. The main leader is amazing at killing Nazis.
Yeah.
Gets caught and they think they die.
Yeah.
So the Nazis let their guard down and the resistance use that and kill them. That's the
main,
narrative.
but
the way that they tell that narrative is something else. Like, there are so many like beats in that story.
And I mean, even if you focus on like some of the smaller stuff in there, like even if you look at BJ's story with his father, like that's an exceptionally well told version of that, which we've seen in places before, but not like that. And not with the kind of ferocity that is in that thing.
It's very,
And you look at like the rise of like you look at Grace's story, like as a mother who's now leading this resistance movement, and while still being like while still being a mother, while still being
being a complete badass thing for
totally.
Time.
And then you look at like again, like BJ's got to deal with like Anna with the kids, and like the fact that he's going to be a father, and like there's a lot of once you take the kind of top layer off of like bombastic
there's a lot of
story
stuff in
there's
there.
a lot of interesting internal things going on. You're right, that might be there.
So Night in the Woods
is there for...
I'm kind of sad I didn't play more of it, but...
Night in the Woods is there for writing, like, straight up. I think that the narrative kind of goes weird at the end in a way that I'm not... I mean, I suppose we're spoiling stuff, right? Where, like, most of the story of that game has been May dealing with the fact that she dropped out of college and has now come back to her used to be a mining town that has fallen, like mines are all shut and people are living to deal with just paying bills, and that is super interesting, and her reconnecting with the friends that she had and the conversations you have with, like, because I spent a lot of time in that game. You get to choose between every day. You get to choose with who you spend time with. Yeah. And the most time you spend with is like B, who's was your best friend when you were in school, but you very quickly discovered there was a moment where you fell out, and then you never really resolved before you went to college. There's Greg, who comes back and is super excited that you're there, but there's obviously something's not quite right there. And then you can also hang out with Greg's boyfriend.
I played this game for 45 minutes.
No, what's Greg's boyfriend's name? Greg's boyfriend.
So is it writing in the sense of like how the characters are interacting, or
they feel like real people? Like they feel like Angus. Sorry, is his boyfriend. They feel like real people. Like they feel like a lot of those conversations that are in that game I've had with people.
Yes,
and they get that the emotion of conversations is not binary. Like, you don't sit down and go, this is a serious conversation. Yeah. This is a comedy like, they flow in and out of that stuff really quickly, and you see a lot of what May does is deal with when B, I mean, again, in my game it depends who you hang out with. Yeah. But in my game, like, once you make things up, I made things up with B. Once she starts calling you on some of the stuff, like, you're not, like, there's something wrong here. Like, you're not stable. Like, there's something happened to you while you're in college, and you're not, like, the way you're freaking out in various moments. There's a scene where you get to the scene with the party in the woods. No, I've done barely any of this game. There's a scene where, like, when, like, it's like day 2 or something like that. It's very early on when you meet up with everyone, they're like, hey, everyone who's still here from school, we're going up to the woods to have a party. And the scene cuts and you're in the woods and there's like a big bonfire and there's like kegs and people are out hanging out and stuff like that. And May just gets wasted. Like, she just keeps knocking drinks back and all this kind of stuff. And again, like, it plays with all the levels where, like, the comedy of her like having those conversations with the slurs, like the slur speech is all written brilliantly and it's really funny. But also, like, there's a moment where it flips and B starts to get really worried that, like, we've been here for like an hour. Like, what happened? Yeah. And how are you doing? And why are you, like, what is going on? Yeah. And there's a really great scene later on, again, because I spent most of my time with B, where she says, like, hey, the next town over, which is a much bigger town, like has a university near it. It's like, hey, the next town over, there's a club I go to there. Do you want to head out? It's like, yeah, fucking sure, let's go. And you go over there, you go out there and meet one of B's other friends from that town, and you go into this club, like underground club, and there's a great rhythm action dance bit, which is awesome. And there's a scene where like you meet you and B and your other friend or her friend meet a couple of guys from the university, and they start talking, and it very quickly gets to like B's like trying to impress these guys. They're a bit older, and she's obviously doing stuff there. And May is not up for any of this. Like, May's here because she wants to hang out with her friends, and she needs these people here. So she's just getting in the road of this entire thing. And B's like, can you like give us a minute and all this kind of stuff. And like May's like, no, I'm here to fucking dance, and she's fucking dancing, and like, and then so all of this stuff is like funny, and like there's a moment where like B just fucking loses it, and it's just like, and just runs out the club, and you chase after her, and the friend's there, and the friend's like, fucking idiot, like do you not see what was going on? And then like there's the come down of like, oh shit, and you find her, and you have this huge big argument about like, I come here because this is how I get out of the town. Like, you got to go to college. I wish I could have gone to college. I couldn't afford to go to college. You got out of the town, and you threw it away. Like, this is where I come, and you've ruined this as well.
It's very like real stories.
Yeah, like every emotion is in every scene all the time. And
it's impressive.
It all feels really, really real and like believable.
Yeah,
in a way that games don't do.
Yeah, that's fair. Persona 5, it doesn't hang on this list. It's because it's like, it's basically the story of every Persona game.
Yeah, kind of.
But there are just moments in it that are pretty wild. Like, that turn moment is pretty wild. Like, the other turns in other Persona games are very like, oh shit, this thing's happened, now the game goes differently. That turn that lasts an hour, and you just sit and go, what the fuck is going on? And at the end of it, you're like, yeah, all right, like we might be in a position where we could do something here. It was just this really interesting, like, good moment. But the narrative as a whole is very.
Is there any side stuff like?
The character stories are very good. Like Shijiro, like the guy that you live with, has a very good story about like his relationship with his wife and
again,
Futaba.
The very early on where I'm like halfway through the first palace. Like, out of all the characters, like, I kind of want to know what Shijiro's story.
Yeah, he's got a really good story.
Like, he doesn't care about any of this.
Yeah, so Shijiro's got a really good story. Ryoji, even though I don't really like him, has a very good story about like him overcoming his why he got lost off the track team and like how that affected his mental state. You start to see bits
of that early on.
Makoto's got a really good story about how her family, like, she has to live up to the expectations of her sister, and how she does things to try and meet that expectation instead of doing what she actually wants to do. The character you meet later on called Haru, who has a really good story about being driven into an arranged marriage.
Oh wow.
Like a business marriage of like being married to the son of a competitor's business so they can merge companies.
Weird, okay.
And she has to deal with that and like realizing that she shouldn't do it because she doesn't like the other guy, and so it's and then dealing with what she should do with the company after that because she's the heir to the company.
Sure.
So there's a lot of like good individual character stories in there, but the like general narrative thread is very similar to other Persona games of like you do all the palaces thinking you're doing the right thing, but there's a greater evil that is doing it for a different reason. The turn happens, you go fight the bigger evil.
Sure.
It's all done.
Okay.
There are other good twists along the way that are very interesting, but it's generally kind of like the same. Million Onion Hotel.
So, like, I'm not, like, I know you added this to the list.
Yeah.
The bits, the little story bits that happen in the middle, like, how many of them have you seen?
Like 7.
Oh, okay, you're much further than that then. Does that go anywhere?
It goes pretty wild. I don't know, how many of you, what have you seen to? Like, what's happened?
The last one I saw, I think, was, like, after, like, there's a shooting outside the hotel room.
Yeah. So the whole story revolves around this like mob boss who there's a big fight. He like goes to have sex with a prostitute, and then there's a big shootout at the hotel. But he gets shot like 20 billion times and doesn't die.
Right.
Or no, he does die, but his heart is linked to a like remote launch sequence to a ballistic missile. So his heart stops, so the missile launcher goes to outer space. It's nuts. Really a joke. Like, it's not a good story, but it's hilarious.
Okay.
Before the Storm.
This is, again, like, they ditched the... Like, it was weird, like, going into this. The last thing I would expect...
have no time travel mechanic.
Yeah, and that's probably the best... Like, ditching the mysticism bit was probably the best decision they made.
Because it grounds it.
Because it... Like, everything that happens in there makes sense. And it is... Like, that whole story is the relationship between Chloe and Rachel.
Yeah.
Like, that whole thing is about them finding each other and the surrounding stuff that... Like, actually, Rachel's story is pretty it's actually pretty interesting, and even though there's only 3 episodes, both of the cliffhangers in both the first 2 episodes are actually genuinely like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, basically,
are they like oh shit level like episode 3 from the original Life is Strange? Okay.
So like the first one is I can't remember if it's I'm pretty sure it's not the cliffhanger from the first one, but it's definitely like one of the big moments of the first one is you're hanging out in you skip school and you're hanging out in the national park with Rachel, and you're using like one of those like quarter viewfinder things, and you're looking around the thing, and you look over and Rachel's got it, and you're like, or you've got like an eyepiece each, and you're looking around, and Rachel's like, hey, that's my dad, like what the fuck's he doing here? Like, this is miles outside the town. He's like, why the fuck's my dad here? Your dad's DA, dad's DA, and he's like, what the fuck's my dad doing here? And they follow him, and he meets this other woman who is definitely not the mother.
Infidelity.
And like, and you're like, what the like? Because Rachel's the like, she's the daughter of the DA. Yeah. She's grade A, perfect.
Yeah, she's the perfect student. Yeah.
And there's that whole. So then you're like,
does the narrative like go work through the whole thing?
Yes, because at the end of episode 2, it's then like. You've done the
Rachel's the girl that's missing in the first game, right? Yeah.
So you go with Rachel, and you two are basically you're together at that point.
Yeah.
You go over and you say like, and that's the point where you've decided to run away, and you're just like, we're gonna go pack a bag. I've got the truck. We're fucking out here. Yeah. And you go home for Rachel to pack her bag so she can go with you, and you get in, and her parents are there, and they're like, hey, you should stay for dinner, and they're like, right, fine, we'll stay for dinner, and then we'll fucking get out of here, and you stay for dinner, and the 4 of them are sitting at the table. Rachel has seen the infidelity thing that's going on, and she's just getting more and more angry, and you're there trying to like crack jokes and keep her calm, and be like, and eventually she just fucking loses it and says like, who the fuck was this? What are you doing? All this kind of stuff. And the dad goes, yeah, the woman under there was your actual mother. And you're like, whoa! And it's like, and the woman under the tree is like, so like, you're like, our dad's DA, like it is a very kind of stereotypical suburban upper middle class white family, and the woman under the tree is like, she has like a linen dress on, she's got like a full sleeve tattoo, like not the person that you would have imagined would produce Rachel, right? Or not, sorry, I don't mean that. Like stereotypically,
yes,
like,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
like she's the antithesis of everything that Rachel seems to have come from. And you're like, what the fuck? And then the start of episode 3 is like, no, here's what the fuck happened, and it's bad. And all of this is like, we all know this. Like her non-biological mother knows about this. And there's a whole thing in there, and it's super good, and it actually pays off.
That's fine.
The only thing I would say that's maybe not on here is the ending seems. I did the thing where it was like, which I did with the first game, which was like, I chose my end. There's basically two paths you can take at the end, and I looked at the other one, and both of them essentially have the same resolution. And it's more about like how you feel personally at the end of it. Okay. And also, the game does not end with Rachel going missing. Like, there's a whole chunk
where it's not. Yeah.
Which, because if you pre-order the game or you bought the deluxe one, there's another episode coming, which is like the prelude or something like that, which directly ties
to
Beyond the Storm into the start of Life is Strange, which they haven't announced when it's coming or anything like that. But like, if you played the first game, bought this one and didn't know about the prologue, you'd be so pissed.
Yeah, because you don't have any resolution.
Because the whole thing is like, all of this is going well. Like, how the fuck did Rachel disappear? Yeah. And there's the story in the first game about like how whatever the name of your drug dealer is, Chloe's drug dealer. I can't remember his name.
I can't remember.
But like, you go into his RV and there's pictures of like Rachel like in her underwear, and his, like, how the fuck does that happen? And like, there's a whole bunch of questions that haven't been answered yet. But at the end of episode 3, there is a stinger of like, oh, there's something here.
Sure.
So I don't think it's going to make it purely for that bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's good.
What do we think?
Right. Fuck.
How badly do you want Yakuza on this list?
It has to be in there.
Okay.
Like, we had, like, between me, like, we had so much fun playing that game, and that story was the main reason.
Cool.
Like, there's so much. Again, most story. I will say,
the fact that it has most story and you say that it's all well written is I'd be willing to accept.
And also, like, the one problem I had with Yakuza 0 was the fact that, like, because you haven't played it in any other, I haven't played it in any of their games, and I'm not that familiar with, like, the Yakuza hierarchy, it got a little bit complicated to work out. So,
like, terminologies,
who's he? Like, and how is he related to you?
Okay.
And what family is he from? And, like, because there's, like, a hierarchy of families as well.
Yeah.
So what they've done, because I follow the...
Is there not... Yeah, there's, like, a thing that ties everything together, like an online...
It's really good.
Oh, okay,
like,
sure.
It does a really good thing, which is, like, you can set it so, like, don't give me spoilers for Kiwami because I'm still playing it.
Right.
But give me like, the only things you can switch...
This is supposed to lead into 6, right? So it would be 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
5.
So you can switch off spoilers for flashbacks, 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2.
What's Kiwami? Is that 2?
That's 2 remake,
okay.
which is coming after 6 next year.
Fucking hell.
Which is out in Japan, but it's out in Japan now.
Yeah.
It's based in the Yakuza 6 engine.
Yeah.
So you can switch off the spoilers for that thing. And it's just like an interactive timeline where it's like, this year this thing happened, this year this thing happened, and at any point in any year you can switch to like a hierarchy map and like, here's all the families and here's all these people.
Okay,
like,
sure.
it's really good and it solves that like, they put more effort into it.
But that's not narrative in Yakuza 0. You can't include that.
No, but I'm saying, like, that's how much I was into this thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
fair.
Need to know the...
Okay.
Yeah. I think, yes, I feel like Yakuza needs to be in this.
Okay, fine. I'm willing to accept it because I know how crazy the Yakuza story can get, so I'm not. Edith Finch?
Possible. Those individual stories, like 90% of them were really good.
I really like them, yeah.
I kind of want Night in the Woods in this because...
I would be willing to accept Night in the Woods because I know that it's...
Because it also hasn't got props anywhere else, and I think this is the category for it.
I think if it was going to get anything, it would probably get
I think I'd really want to reward that game for this.
I would understand that because it's... the things that I've seen of it, it seems like it's doing a thing that no other game has really done.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is like actual human conversation.
Yeah, totally.
Which is fine. So
would we put Hellblade above Edith Finch?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's the only one that... So the only thing that really lets Hellblade down on a narrative perspective is that the narrative itself is solid, but like I said, it isn't really sending a good message about like how to deal with mental health.
Some stuff.
Yeah, which I understand is very, very hard. Like it's an incredibly difficult subject to breach, but
the broad strokes.
They get the right idea, but then they kind of treat the actual end goal of it as kind of like it's fine.
Yeah, I can see that.
Is there any other? Do you think Tacoma could go?
No, I mean it's good, but it's like good sci-fi. I'm not hugely into
Wolfenstein. I kind of agree with you at the point of like the base narratives kind of stale, but then there's a lot of like bits in it that are
there's a lot under the surface. I'm just like I think Wolfenstein works as a series of moments as opposed to
I'd be okay with that. So we're saying that the top 3 are the...
I think so. Like Prey's good, but and again it's
Prey would be better if the main arc was good.
Probably.
But the main arc is very dull. Like
you're probably right.
I do really like the side stuff in Prey.
Totally.
All the really human stuff is great. And it's really well written. It's just a shame that they didn't.
But like, also like, there's a lot of side stuff in like a BioShock where the main story pulls it off as well. Like
the entire, like all like in BioShock, the story leading into it was good. It was just about like survival or whatever, and there was good side stuff. But then you got to like Xander Cohen.
So I'm specifically talking about Infinite.
Oh, you mean Infinite?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
like,
right, sure.
In that one, the main story kind of informs a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that 3. That 3 seems good to me.
Edith Finch and Night in the Woods.
Yep.
Okay.
Is this where you try and say that Yakuza's the best story of 2017?
I mean,
so the thing that,
because I'm looking at the other two, right? Like Night in the Woods hits a lot of the writing stuff,
yeah,
and a lot of the original, like the actual main story of it is super interesting about her reconnecting with her family and reconnecting with her friends, and how you deal with like what happened to you and all of this kind of stuff. But the problem is, like, I feel like the ending undercuts a lot of that.
I mean, an ending
like,
can ruin it. So
the ending goes because obviously, like, there's, and I could never work out in that game if. So basically, okay. So the ending basically is, so very early on in that game, as you're out with your friends, you come across a severed arm, right? And you do what friends do, and you poke up the stick.
Yeah.
But there's a severed arm, right? And your aunt, I think, is a cop in the town. And she's like, you just move on. Like, this is all ours. And, like, she'll turn up at random moments and go, like, are you okay? Are you, like, how you see anything weird? And you're like, I mean, no, any more than wrong. So she appears at random moments and is, like, trying to very gently say, like, just stop investigating.
Yeah.
And you think there's, at some point, May thinks, like, she's being haunted by ghosts. And that's what's causing her kind of mental state, and that she's being haunted, and like it's obviously not ghosts, like, but she does the investigations, and like I always felt to be like the investigations into finding ghosts was always like a way for you to reconnect with your friends and be like, go on an adventure, and like that was how I assumed it was going. And then the last couple of hours you discover that there's actually a secret cult in the town who have been sacrificing people to some cosmic horror that lives under in one of the old mine shafts that they found. Okay. And they've basically been throwing...
So it's a Lovecraft novel.
Kind of.
Right.
And all these people, all the ghosts they've been seeing are all these guys in hoods that have been like basically kidnapping people and sacrificing to this god, right?
Right.
Or this underground god. And like that is what May ends, and to be fair, like May's the one that makes the connection. Nobody else does.
Sure. Yeah.
But May's the one is like, I've always felt like there was something weird here.
Yeah.
And like you end up talking to it in a weird way.
Okay.
But it's all in her head, and it's never explicitly said like this caused this.
Yeah.
And it felt like May dealing with her stuff, but also it felt like a really easy get out clause for like actually. It
was a cosmic god. Yeah.
She just has like actual issues she needs to talk to someone about.
Sure, that's fair.
But like 90% of it is really good.
So Edith Finch, I think, does the like collection of stories thing. I can't anthology. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I think it does it very well. All of the stories are very different and individual and told in a very like interesting way. Again, that only games can do.
Yeah.
And it's treated like the way that you go into that game is that everybody talks about how the Finches are cursed and like really unlucky.
The family believes they're cursed.
And the family believes they're cursed, but then you go through the stories and you learn that everybody was just really unlucky or found themselves in horrible apart from like the child star. I don't quite understand that story.
Yeah, that one was weird.
But everybody else was just like, I understand that you had like mental problems or you drowned or like but I like the idea of it's the kind of like the reverse of most video games, where most video games there are weird stuff happening and then you discover it's mysticism, whereas this one is like, oh, there's mysticism, and you go, no, it's not. It's just like people just got unlucky.
People
like
were unlucky or sick or
like unfortunate or whatever you're gonna get. Like I really like that kind of general turn on, and the reveal at the end of like Edith's actually writing this for her unborn child.
Totally.
I thought it was actually a really cool twist.
Totally. Yeah, I appreciate that. Like literally the only thing that's stopped me from putting Yakuza at the top of this list personally is that the other two are trying to actually say something, whereas Yakuza is just a really good,
just has a lot of
solid
things.
story. Like that, it's like that Netflix series that you want to go talk to people about. Like it's that kind of TV.
Did you see this thing?
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of on you because, well, it's 2 games that I haven't really played. So, like, I'm happy with Edith Finch because I think it does tell a really good story in a really interesting way. But if you really think that Yakuza 0's abundance of stories and very like style, like tones of story,
it's not like the writing is one thing, right? Like, it's not like in this kind of game, it's not even the writing. Like the arc of the story is really interesting, but it is a rare experience that we get to say that the translation is amazing.
Sure,
like the translation does things that I've never seen done in a translation before, where it very quickly goes like it uses colloquialisms that there's no one in Japan or probably America has ever used.
Oh, okay.
And they talk about, and because like you've seen the thing like they do with anime sometimes, or like a lot of the time, where the kind of accent split in Japan is between North Japan and South Japan.
Yeah, so you
like,
play on jokes for that.
The people in Tokyo sound like North American voice actors, whereas people from Kyoto have like a kind of southern dialect thing. Whereas like the same in like if they do it in the UK, like especially with was like Nino Kuni, like Mr. Drippy was Welsh.
Drippy was Welsh, yeah.
Like that kind of split.
Yeah.
In this, like there are moments where like there are just colloquialism, like because there's not a lot of like there's no English voice, like it's all text, but the text is like there is no way anyone in the US knew what the fuck was going on in this. Yeah. Like it feels like a UK or Europe translation.
Like I say, like this is on you. Like it's
like at this point it is between that and Night in the Woods for me, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really want like
at that if it really is between Yakuza and Night in the Woods and I can't convince you that Edith is.
I really like what it did. I think the other two are stronger.
Okay, well then this is a thing that you need to figure out because I can't help you. I'll say that from what I've seen of Yakuza, it seems like a really cool crime story and there are interesting side stuff. Night in the Woods, I connected with it immediately because I've been in that situation, like returning to your hometown and stuff like that, and I really like the way that the characters are talking.
Yeah.
But you know more of this.
The writing is just incredible. Like it's that.
So Night in the Woods.
It's that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that. That's okay.
Like I'm not gonna lie, that fucking Full of Dolphins line was just.
It sounds very good. Yeah.
It's so good, and yeah, it's really good. Okay, yeah, I think
I'm okay with that. That's fine.
The best narrative is Night in the Woods with Yakuza 0 and What Remains of Edith Finch. Remember all that time ago when I said like, there's something about this Dead Souls game that I think we need to.
Dead Souls?
Yakuza Dead Souls.
Oh right, you mean that pile of shit that you made me play? Yeah.
The one that had like this super interesting like translation and actually was better.
No. But I've known for ages that Yakuza's super interesting. I just couldn't play it. It was the point. Because it was a PS2 game.
The combat in that game is not good. So, yeah.
Dead Souls you can't play, which will come up again in a later category.
Dead Souls solved that problem by giving you a lot of guns.
Shut up, right.
Okay, moving on.